Alright guys, I'm going to go over some of the basic extrusion features of ProBuilder here because I think that I've seen that a few of you aren't probably using them, and they're really powerful and I get a lot of use out of them and they save me a ton of time, and you will see why in just a second here. So what I've created here is a basic 4x4x1 block, put a tile texture on it, and you can drag it and kind of size it as you want, which is kind of the basics of building things. Like you would in Quark back in the day. But in ProBuilder, you're building the full geometry, not creating a bunch of brushes that are then merged with each other. So ideally, you actually don't want to just set a bunch of cubes next to each other because you'll get these internal walls that face each other, which can cause issues with lighting, and then they're always being calculated for physics and rendering even if you can't see them. So ideally, we don't have any internal surfaces, and this is where extrusion comes in handy. Because instead of dragging this out or creating a new brush, I'm going to hold down the Shift key and drag it. And now I've actually created two top surfaces here and split the basic object. I can continue to do this to kind of rough out my level. So say we do that. We'll drag this over, make a little bit of a ramp, drag that out, come over this way. Alright, so now I'm getting a pretty cool little level here. So now you could go in and make a whole bunch of separate brushes for the edges and then delete out the internal faces and have it take a really long time. But here is a really slick trick. If you click this, first select any face on the edge and then click select face loop. See, it selects the entire edge. I can drop on my edge texture. And now if I go into the actual extrude tool and click the little plus button, pop this up. You always want to have it on extrude by face normal. There's other modes, but they're not really that helpful. And then have the distance set to 1 and click extrude faces. Boom, instant trim on your entire shape. It even creates the nice angle cuts that Todd likes to see. You can also do this on interior cuts as long as they're all connected. And it'll even get the UVs right on squared off areas. You will have to manually fix these kind of slopes. Speaking of manually fixing things, you'll notice that because I pulled this slope up, it has this odd little offset on the UVs, which if it was taller would become more apparent. So if I grab this and drag it up, you can see, oh, now these UVs are really messed up. And it's like, okay, well, that's not really ideal, but turns out there's also a really quick trick to fix this sort of UV offset. So I'll select those. I will click the UV editor. As you can see, I have them here. I could go in and manually try to drag all those edges to align them or whatever. But because they're all on the grid, I can just instead click Convert to Manual, Project UVs box, and it'll project them down square from above. And it did offset this one by 1 unit, which is easily fixed just by dragging it over here. Anyway, so that's a really quick way to fix those UVs. A lot of the time it won't even do that offset and you'll have nothing you need to do to fix that. These you'll have to fix manually on the side unless you use the quad UV stripper to fix multiples, but those are pretty easy as well. So hopefully that is a good tutorial, shows you how to really quickly rough out a level and add trim to it without making a million different brushes. This is just one cube in ProBuilder. If I go in and look at these edges from the inside, there's no internal geometry here, which if I had made that out of a bunch of internal brushes, there'd be a whole bunch of walls on the inside of this object that, as I said, are all being considered for rendering and physics. Anyways, that's my quick little extrusion tutorial. Hope it's helpful. Thanks.